Can you hear me? Yeah. I have a PowerPoint presentation which I'll give it to you. Like I mentioned to you, I was in the Air Force for 11 years, and I was fortunate to be the flight commander of 110 helicopter unit. Flight commander is the ops manager. He's running the show. And today I'll tell you the story of what we did for those 2 weeks during the Bangladesh war. First thing is, there's a gentleman called General Sagat Singh. Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay. I have a PowerPoint presentation which I'll give it to you. Like I mentioned to you, I was in the Air Force for 11 years, and I was fortunate to be the flight commander of 110 helicopter unit. Flight commander is the ops manager. He's running the show. And today I'll tell you the story of what we did for those 2 weeks during the Bangladesh war. First thing is, there's a gentleman called General Sagat Singh. And in my view and in my experience, he was the best general in the whole world. I don't think any general come close to him. Wherever he went, he won. Didn't matter what place he went, he won. We were fortunate to be attached to him. He was the GOC of 4 Corps, and he had the wisdom to request the Indian Air Force and to request the Indian Army to get a helicopter unit attached to the Army. So 110 helicopter unit was attached to 4 Corps. So before the war started, 110 became 4 Corps. The only difference between us and the Army was we were wearing blue uniform, overalls, and they were wearing green, and that's it. And everything else, we were same. So when the war started, on the 3rd of December, I'll just go through this. You'll probably get a better experience of it. Let me. That's me 52 years ago, young and handsome. That's a helicopter. And that's the Me-4 cabin. And we had these 2 doors, which we removed them, clamshell doors. So when we remove them, then the back has got a big hole at the back, so the passengers can jump in and jump out instantaneously. And we can carry bigger load. Also, we removed the seats. We had no seats at all in the helicopter. We had no safety belts. We had no ropes. We had no nets. And throughout the war, we just loaded up the luggage first, and then we told the passengers, go and sit down on top. And the pilots were sitting in the front, and they were told not to get out of the cockpit because it's waste time. And the guy who was handling the passengers, called flight engineer, and he used to stand where the ladder is over here. He had no safety belt. Only thing he had was a headset to talk to us, that passengers are okay, we're ready to go. That's all. And wherever we landed, he'll be the first one to jump out and put his hands out and stand near the tail rotor so that none of the passengers run to the tail rotor, because it's very dangerous. So somebody's head can be chopped off. And he was the last one to get in. And always, he was standing right at the edge over there. There was no place for him to get in any further at all. And this is another picture of the same cabin. And of course, it shows you in the Himalayas what the helicopters were doing. Sorry. This is a cockpit, very, very basic cockpit. The only navigation aid we had was a magnetic compass and a gyro compass. That's all, nothing else. And we had no autopilot. It was all manual flying. And it had a piston engine, no jet engine, but very reliable. It never let us down. Anytime it was going to have any problem, it gave me enough warning, please land, please land, please land, and then engineers could come and fix it. I flew this for 11 years, 3,300 hours experience I have on these helicopters. And during the war, we flew this 14 helicopters continuously, non-stop, 24/7. Not a single accident, not one accident during the war. And I was the oldest. I was 30. And the youngest, I'll show you the pictures of some of the pilots. This is just showing what we were doing during the war. Here are the pilots. This gentleman here, Doc Sridharan, he was just 19. and rest of them were 22, 23, 24. And Dr. Sridharan had total experience of 500 hours. Very basic. He had just come from training, and he'd been with us for a year and a half, and we'd been training him. And when the war was being planned, and March, April onwards, we knew the war is coming because Mujibur Rahman had won the elections, and the West Pakistan had decided to cancel the election, so he couldn't become the Prime Minister. They didn't want a Bengali to be the Prime Minister. So he had come to Bangladesh, East Pakistan, and declared independence. And of course, all hell broke loose, and they sent General Tikka and General Niazi to East Pakistan to suppress them. And by God, they suppressed them. More than 1 million Bengalis were killed. Lot of women were raped, and more than 6 to 10, between 6 and 10 million refugees came to India. Obviously, Indira Gandhi and the government of India could not cope with that kind of numbers. So they went to UN, they went to Americans, they went to the Britishers. Nobody was interested. Nobody wanted to help. The only country which was helping us was the Russians. And so she came back and she told General Manekshaw, please start preparing for the war. We want to go to war as soon as possible. And General Manekshaw had the wisdom to tell her that we cannot go to war during the monsoons. We have to go after the monsoons, which the government of India agreed. And that was a big bonus for all of us to start preparing for the war. You know, we needed time to prepare for the war. And for helicopter boys, we got trained. We told the war is coming. Start practicing, start doing low-level flying, start doing a lot of training, night flying and everything. So we had plenty of time. And we got everybody rated for night flying, and by that time, December war came. And this rest of the pictures are just showing you what the other pilots as well, and some engineers are there. Sorry. And these, sorry. I'm jumping up and down. Okay. This shows you the list of all the names and pilots. We had 3 helicopter units with me. 110 was the main unit, which had 8 helicopters. 105, which came from Chabua, had 4 helicopters. And 111, which was in Hashimara, had 2 helicopters. So total, we had 12. 8 helicopters arrived there for the war on the 3rd of December. 4 joined us on the 6th of December from Chabua. And then 2 joined us later on the 10th of December. And that is the little diary I had for the entire 2 weeks of the operation. I used to write everybody's name down, write down all the air cards available for the following day, plan for the following day, and everybody knew what they were going to be doing the following day. Always had 2 pilots as duty pilots, and their job was to collect information and pass it on to me or to my CO so that we could plan whatever information came. If both of us are not available, it was their duty to get hold of a helicopter, get hold of the pilots, and get the job done. And the main job was casualty evacuation. We had to pick up the casualties, we had to pick up the dead bodies from the field and bring them to the hospital. So we always had 3 or 4 helicopters standby for casualty evacuation. And also, while they were bringing casualties, we used to, on the way out, they would take arms and ammunition and troops and supply them to whichever army wanted us to do that. So that was going on all the time. 3 or 4 helicopters were always kept for that. And rest of the helicopters were used for supply, taking the troops, which I'll tell you the story about. And that diary was still with me. So I went to USI about a month and a half ago and handed over that diary because they have a room of like a museum for 1971. I said, if that diary is lying at my home, it'll get binned. Because when I die, children have no value for it. So I gave it to them. And I also had a file in which each sheet had what we did that day, from 3rd of December to the 16th of December. Every pilot's name was there, every helicopter's name was there, time we took off, time we landed, A to B, where we went. So that file also was with me, and I went and handed over. So that file is also at USI in their museum. These are the senior officers who were with me. General Sagar Singh, of course, was in charge of the 4 Corps. And again, I'm repeating, if there was no General Sagar Singh, there would have been no Bangladesh. So just remember that when I'm telling you the story. It was just he and he alone who had the vision of going to Dhaka. No other general had decided to go to Dhaka. And General Manekshaw and Arora and Jacob and everybody had decided, they will capture few cities as they go along. And that is the instruction given to all the corps. And General Sagat Singh's corps, Hoko, was told, just look after the Tripura area and make sure Pakistanis don't come to the Indian side. Maximum they were allowed to go was up to Meghna. That's it. And Sagat Singh said, yes, sir. And of course, he kept his own ideas to himself. When the war games were going on in Calcutta, whenever the senior officers were invited to Calcutta, General Arora, General Manekshaw, and General Jacob, and all the other co-commanders went to Fort William to plan the war, General Sagat Singh was never invited because he only had a defensive role. So whatever they were planning in Fort William, the CIA and the Chinese intelligence and the Pakistani intelligence were picking it up. And before the Indian army even came to know what they were planning, all Pakistanis already knew. Only good thing was General Sagat Singh was never invited. So whatever Sagat Singh had in mind, nobody knew. So which is the most wonderful thing that happened because he was not being invited. But General Sagat Singh had his own plans. In June or July of 71, he had gone to Survey of India and Dehradun and got maps made for East Pakistan. He was the only general who had maps. I don't know about the other generals, but for sure, 4 Corps had the maps, latest maps of the East Pakistan. Maps we had were million maps, as they're called, from the 1940s, which the Britishers had left behind. So you can imagine the difference we had between 1940 maps and the 1971 maps. And the other general, Group Captain Chandan Singh was station commander of Jorat, that's the Dakota squadrons and all the base there. And he had been given a job to train, the Bengalis who had left Pakistan Air Force, deserted and come to India, and the technicians who had deserted from Pakistan Air Force and come to India. They were all told to go to Dimapur. In Dimapur, Group Captain Chandan Singh was there, Flight Lieutenant Singla was there, and there was another Koshal, Squadron Leader Koshal was there. And they were training on the helicopter, and they were training on the twin order, and there was the Dakota to do all the transportation for them. So they were there from June, July onwards, 1971, and they were training them. And they had a gun fitted to the helicopter and to the twin order, and they had a rocket launcher fitted to the helicopter and to the twin order. And so they had been training, they've been firing, they've been practicing everything. They were like the Mukti Bhani people in the air. Mukti Bhani was doing everything on the ground, and these pilots and engineers were doing everything from the air. And I'll show you the picture of one of the helmets with the rocket launcher and the gun at the end of this thing. And the 3 officers you see here, Squadron Leader Sandhu was CEO of my CO, 110HU. Squadron Leader Kriapa was CEO of 111 in Hashimara, and Squadron Leader Chabra was CEO of 105. And all these senior officers were just too wonderful with me, and we worked like a team, and they just sent me instructions, and I just got on with it and did the job. And whenever I needed them, I was short of pilots, I would ring up, contact Sandhu or Karyappa or Chabra. I said, sir, I need a pilot to fill up this seat. And they would all jump and they'll all come along and help me. So it was a wonderful team effort. It went very, very well. This, of course, is a standard map. Before 47, we were all together. And after partition, East and West Pakistan. And after 71, the Bangladesh came into being. This is the map of East Pakistan. And you can see the aircraft marked everywhere. And that is the Air Force stations all along the border of East Pakistan. Mostly fighters. And we had helicopters where the yellow marks are there, Kumbigram, Hashimara, and Chabua. And in Jorat, we had the Dakotas. And there must be some other transport planes as well. I don't remember where they were. But as you can see, there were a lot of fighter aircrafts over there. So we were all ready, prepared to attack East Pakistan at any moment. And when the refugees started coming in, the army was told to set up camps all the way along the border and collect able-bodied men and women and start training them to become Mukti Bhani, in which we were doing. And any smart people were sent to the officer training camp, which was south of Sikkim. So Mukti Bhani officer training camp was south of Sikkim, and the army was training them as well. So all the time, from March, April, June, May onwards, the training was going on for Mukti Bhani. And some of our Bengali officers from the Indian Army had joined Mukti Bhani as well to help them in the war. Main job the Mukti Bhani had was to harass the Pakistanis in some way or the other so that they have sleepless nights. So the Mukti Bhani on the ground was doing it on the ground, and the Mukti Bhani helicopters were doing it from the air. So when the war started on 3rd of December, we were told to disperse from Kumbhigram. We were in Kumbhigram, which is quite near the border. So at Pakistan Air Force, we were within their range. They could have come and attacked us. But they only had one squadron, and they were at Dhaka. So they stayed around Dhaka, and they were just monitoring the Dhaka area, and they were helping the Pakistan army wherever they were required. But there were not many aircraft. And right in the beginning, Indian Air Force came and attacked the hell out of the Dhaka airport. And so the Dhaka airport became non-functional within 3 or 4 days. So they were grounded. Pakistan Air Force was grounded completely. So 3rd of December, the war started. The first thing we did was we sent the twin order and the Elbit helicopter, fully loaded with guns and rockets and everything. And they were the first ones who went to Chittagong and another place in East Pakistan. And they were the first one to attack a fuel tank, and they blew up the fuel tank. So after that, the Indian Air Force got involved, because our army had already started moving in from east and west. From end of October onward, we were already moving in slowly into East Pakistan. So on the 3rd, as I said, on 3rd of December, when the official war started, our helicopters, 4 helicopters came to Telimara. Telimara is here near Agartala at the bottom, you can see. Yeah, here is the Agartala, here is Telimara. Telimara was about 40 kilometers from Agartala. And that is where the forecourt, General Sagar Singh, was based. And first thing he got hold of was Akura. Akura was on the Pakistan side, and Akura was attacking Agartala airport. So Agartala airport could not be used. So first thing General Sagar Singh said, let's take over Akura. It took them 2 or 3 days. I think it was 5th evening or 6th morning, we were able to capture Akura. Once Akura became ours, then Agartala airport could be operated. So all our helicopters, 8 helicopters from my unit, arrived at Agartala on the 5th evening. And the 6th morning, 4 helicopters from Shabua arrived. So we had 12 helicopters by now. And the 3-4 days, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th December, 3 or 4 days, all we did was casualty evacuation, supply of arms and ammunition, and then carrying out communication flights for generals and brigadiers or whoever wanted to go to different stations. So on the 6th evening, we were told we're going to take people to Sylhet, which is over there, from a place called Kalora, which is over there. So we moved 8 helicopters from Agartala. We took them to Kalashar. Kalashar is an airstrip, Second World War airstrip, just a kilometer on the Indian side. And we parked ourselves there. And Kilo Flight, which is Group Captain Chandan Singh, who was in charge of, had also come to Kalashar. So their aircraft were also in Kalashar. And 7th morning, we arrived there 9 o'clock and waiting for briefing. And Brigadier Quinn, who was in charge of the brigade over there, and Group Captain Chandan Singh arrived, and they took Coordinator Sandhu. And they went and had a look at this helipad at Kalora, which is about 10 kilometers inside East Pakistan. And then they had a look at Sylhet and decided which area they wanted us to land. And they came back to Kalashar, and they briefed us what we're going to do. 4 or 5 Gurkhas were picked. They were the people we were going to carry to Sylhet. And the aim for 4 or 5 Gurkhas was to block the Pakistan army, which is based at Sylhet, to move south. They didn't want any army. See, Sagar Singh was planning to go to Dhaka, and he didn't want Dhaka to be reinforced by anybody. And this is the biggest cantonment Pakistanis had. They had 2 brigades over there. So Sagar Singh's aim was that he'll send 4 or 5 Gurkhas there to make sure all the roads are blocked, all the railway lines are blocked, and whatever is there is blocked so that nobody can go south. So after having selected all the helipads, we were told to move to Kalora by midday on the 7th of December. So we moved 7 helicopters to Kalora, and we kept 1 helicopter for casualty evacuation. And I briefed all my pilots that as soon as the passengers come, we load up and we get airborne. We keep a gap of 3 to 4 minutes between each helicopter, so that when we land at Sylhet, only 1 helicopter was on the ground. We didn't want to give a bigger target to the enemy. So I was number 1, then number 2, number 3, 7 helicopters. We had fuel for 3 flights each. So we were waiting from midday, and Kalora was under Indian Army, so we were not worried, and the locals were helping us, and they brought some food for us and everything. And about 2:30, 4 or 5 Gurkhas started arriving. So I loaded up my helicopter, got airborne about 2:45. It was 20 minutes flying, about 350 roughly direction. And I went and dropped my passengers. The second one took off 3 minutes behind me. The third one 3 minutes behind them. By the time the fourth or fifth helicopter took off, and he arrived at Sylhet, the Pakistan army had started surrounding. And I'll show you the helipad. And you can see the landing zone here. And it's about 15 to 20 kilometers away from the main Pakistan garrison. So we were just outside the small arm fires. And this is how our helicopter looked. You can see the, sorry. This is how a helicopter looked. You can see that 2 doors are removed. Only good thing is we were able to land everywhere. We never made people jump from the air. We always landed and so that nobody gets injured jumping from away. And it's much quicker once you're on the ground rather than people jumping when you're hovering. But you can see the big hole at the back. So the operation carried on. By the time I went the second time, the bullets had increased. The number of bullets, hundreds and hundreds of bullets are coming towards us. By the time we went the third time, the number of bullets was huge. But as I said, we were just out of range. We could see the bullets coming. And when you see a tracer bullet coming, there are 4 more bullets behind it. So the 5 bullets are coming towards you. But as I said, they never reached us. We could see them coming, very scary, but they would never reach us. An odd bullet would reach us and make a hole in the helicopter, but it didn't affect anything, didn't affect the flying, didn't injure anybody. So we carried on flying, and about 6 o'clock, we had finished our 3 trips each. We needed to come back to Kalashar. We came back to Kalashar, refueled, and our engineers started working on the servicing of the helicopter, get them prepared for the next operation. And while they were doing that, one engineer came to me and said, "Sir, one helicopter has not come back." So we called him up on the radio, and we discovered he was in a valley next door. There were small valleys at Kalashar. He was just the next valley. We fired a flare for him. He saw us. He came over and landed, so everybody was safe. So about 7:15 in the evening, and in December in East, it gets dark very quickly. So 7 o'clock it was pitch dark, and there was no moon also that day. So I went and told the chief Group Captain Chandan Singh that helicopters are ready to start the next operation. We'd only dropped 254 soldiers at Sylhet. So he said, no, we're not going, because he'd been flying in the Alvet. He was watching us. And if I could see 100 bullets, he could see the thousands of them. Very scary when you're watching at 5,000 feet, what's going on. So he said, no, we're going in the morning. It's too dangerous. You guys are too slow. You guys are too low. Anybody can shoot it down. You're like a sitting duck, which is quite true. Helicopters, anybody can shoot us down. So he said, no, we go in the morning. A brigadier said, the war doesn't stop just because the night has come, and you only dropped 254 of my soldiers. And the other thing which had happened, 4-5 Gurkhas had not taken their HF radio with them. So we were not even in contact with the people we had dropped over there. And the reason they had not taken the radio was, they thought we'll just keep going. And they hadn't planned who's going to go first, who's going to go second, who's going to go third. They thought we'll just keep going till everything is delivered. So they had no radio. So we had no contact with the 254 soldiers. And here the discussion is going on between the brigadier and the group captain. And the group captain is telling him, if I send a helicopter and it gets shot down, I'll lose the pilots, I'll lose the aircraft, I'll lose the passengers. What is the gain? He says, but 254 soldiers are there. What happens to them? And 2 brigades of Pakistan Army there. Nearly more than 6,000 soldiers, 7,000 soldiers of Pakistanis are there. Good thing is, BBC announced that Indian Air Force had dropped 1 brigade of Indian Army at Sylhet. So that pissed off the Pakistanis as well. So they didn't come anywhere close to us. And Colonel Harulkar, who was in charge of the 4-5 Gurkhas, he made sure his army was spread out nicely, and they were firing at different times to give an impression that he had a much bigger army there at Sylhet. So the Pakistanis didn't come close to us. In the meantime, our troops had spread out and had started blocking the roads which they had been assigned to stop blocking the roads so that none of the Pakistanis can go south. So about 11 o'clock, and at briefing to all my pilots was, if there's no flying, please go to sleep. Because we were literally working 24/7. So all my pilots were sleeping. And I was probably sleeping as well. Then 11 o'clock, I was woken up, please come. And the group captain wants to see you. So I went to see him. And he said, we have decided to send 1 helicopter. If it goes and comes back, then we'll send the rest. Get one crew ready. I said, I'll go myself. So I came to the crew room. It was quarter the size of this room. Everybody was sleeping. And I said, I need a volunteer to come with me. Every one of those 30-odd pilots put their hands up. They should have been all scared, but everybody's josh was so high. Everybody's, were ready to go. So I picked up one of the gentlemen flying officer, Kant Reddy. And then we picked up the flight engineer. Just after 12, midnight, we got airborne. And this is my helicopter trying to land at Sylhet airport. And this painting was done by Group Captain Dev Gohan. And when I told him to do this painting, he was very kindly agreed. And I said, there were hundreds of bullets coming to me. So he started drawing hundreds of bullets. He says, if I draw hundreds of bullets, your helicopter disappears behind those bullets. I said, Chika, I only just put few so that it's visible. So that's what he did. He only put about 5, 6 bullets to show the bullets are coming towards us. So I had briefed my passengers that as soon as I land, everybody jumps out. So when I got airborne, it was pitch dark, no moon as well. I knew the helipad in daytime. I knew there was a river, I knew there was a bridge, and I knew a kilometer after the river was the helipad. But then that is in daytime. Raat mein kya hota hai, it's a different story. But I was fairly sure if I maintain my direction and I will maintain the distance and I see the river and I see 1 kilometer behind, I should be able to land there. Then one flying officer, Sharma, had gone as a liaison officer between the Army and the Air Force, and he was in Sylhet, and he came up on the radio. About time you guys came, what took you so long? I was so happy to hear his voice. I said, what is the situation like on the ground? He says, everything is quiet, 12:30 ka time hai, everybody is sleeping. I light a fire for you. So that is the fire he lit. Can you see the fire on the left-hand side? And once I knew the fire, I knew where I had to go. And as I said, I had briefed my passengers. As soon as I land, everybody out, I'll be airborne in 30 seconds. When I was on the finals, the amount of bullets that were coming towards me, even now I can see them coming towards me. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bullets coming towards me. We landed, we dropped the passengers, and we got airborne literally less than a minute. And as soon as I got airborne and I turned away from the helipad, I told my flight engineer, quickly go and have a look how many bullet holes we got. So he went around with the light on, torch on, came back with a big grin. Sir, you won't believe we don't have a single bullet hole. Not one bullet hole. I was flabbergasted. I was amazed. I said, the only reason Pakistanis have not been able to hit us is they can't see us. So if they can't see us, I can get the rest of the helicopters coming in. So I rang up base. I said, come on, guys, these people don't know how to fire. We're all going in, start getting ready. I came running back, picked up the next load. I had fuel for 3 flights. Picked up my next load, went running back again, dropped my next load, again got airborne, again without any bullets. Came running back, picked up my 3rd load, went running back again, dropped my 3rd load. This time when I got airborne, my tank was, my fuel gauge was showing 0. But my rotor was running, my engine was running. Obviously we had fuel. So 3 of us were spraying, whoever's up there, please take us back home. We got back home. And one bullet had gone through the engine and hit the cable to going to the fuel gauge and broken the cable. And it literally stopped where my finger is. The bullet has slowed down in the engine and then hit the cable, broke the cable and stopped there. We found the bullet when the helicopter came to base. And they opened the panel, they changed the cable, fuel gauge was working, they put fuel in my helicopter. 4 more helicopters that got ready by that time. They started operating, I joined them. Whole night we operated. Next day we operated. 8th night, 9th morning we operated. We took artillery guns also. We took Mukti Bhani people also. 9th morning, 9 o'clock. So from 7th afternoon to 9th morning, working literally 24/7, we delivered 900 soldiers. We delivered their load. We delivered the artillery guns. And they nicely arranged themselves. And after that, throughout the war, every day we used to get message, casualties are there, we need more arms, we need more ammunition. Helicopter would go and deliver that. And whenever they needed more stuff, Group Captain Chandan Singh was advised, and he would get a fixed wing, like a Caribou or a Dakota, to come and drop whatever the 4-5 Gurkhas wanted. So we were delivering all the stuff throughout the war, and whenever they needed fighters would be invited, and they'll come and play havoc into the Sylhet garrison. So Pakistanis never came out of the garrison, they stayed in the garrison. And our troops managed, And the 16th or 17th of December, I think 17th of December, they surrendered to our 1 battalion. 2 brigades of Pakistan Army surrendered to 1 battalion of 4-5 Gurkhas. Amazing. And they didn't move out. Pakistanis never moved out south. So after this, we came back to Agartala, and standard briefing at Agartala was park your helicopter, hand it over to the engineers, run to the toilet, because that is the only place we had a toilet, run to the food, because that's the only place we had food, and then go to sleep. Standard briefing for all the pilots. So everybody would hand over the helicopter, toilet, food, sleep. So everybody was sleeping. By the time I arrived, everybody was sleeping. I was probably the last helicopter back from Sylhet. I parked my helicopter and I did the same. I went to sleep. But 11ish, I got a call from General Sagar Singh. I want to see you. So I went running to the runway. He was sitting in an Alvet helicopter. Alvet is a 6-seater, 3 seats in the front, 3 seats at the back. 2 pilots were there, and General Sagar Singh was sitting in the front. I sat at the back. My CO, Squadron Sandhu, was sitting at the back, and 1 brigadier was sitting at the back. He said, I'll show you the next helipad. And that is the next helipad here, Raipura. See, now, after seeing what we did at Sylhet and how efficiently we did, and without any hiccups, he knew how to get to Dhaka. His original plan was to go by boat or by road. Road, he had to cross this river, River Meghna, and there's a bridge here called Coronation Bridge. And we were getting closer and closer to Coronation Bridge. 4-5 Gurkhas were getting, not 4-5 Gurkhas, 4 Corps was getting closer and closer to Ashuganj and to cross the bridge. Then Pakistanis realized that we were getting very close, they blew up the bridge. So the Coronation Bridge was blown up. So so he knew the best way to get to Dhaka is by helicopters, because he had seen us in Sylhet. Now he knew how to get to Dhaka. And after he showed us Raipura, we came back and we went to Ashuganj area. He wanted to have a look at the Coronation Bridge, which had been blown up. And then on the way back, he said, this is all under Indian control, we can come down. So we started coming down. We came to 1,000 feet. And suddenly we heard this noise, put. Bullets going right through the helicopters. Even now I can see those bullet holes in the Alvet helicopter. It's like a prospect, little prospect the Alvet has got. And the pilot got injured on his shoulder. The co-pilot took over, climbed away very quickly. General Sagar Singh had 1 bullet go right across his forehead, but nothing injured him. It just went scraping through his forehead. And we landed back at Sylhet and at Agartala, and we shut down. And I came to know there were 38 bullet holes in that helicopter. That means there were 19 bullets which went through that helicopter. 1 pilot was injured. General Sagar Singh had a scrape over his forehead. The rest of the bullets didn't touch any of us. So some Bhagwan was watching us and keeping an eye on us, and none of us were injured. Can you imagine? Tiny helicopter, 6-seater, bullets going everywhere, through the legs, through the hands, but not touching any of us. Absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. So anyway, after I landed at Agartala, I had the briefing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'd been told take 8 helicopters and go to Brahmabaria, and then 4 guards will be coming and we'll be taking them across to Raipura. And so we landed there about 3:30 in the afternoon, and we shut down. We were waiting for the 4 guards to come. And over there on the river banks, there were hundreds and hundreds of dead bodies. Men, women, children. And it was such a shock. I asked the local people, "Kya hua yahan pe?" He says, the Pakistanis were retreating from here. They just gathered everybody and shot them. What do you achieve by doing that? I have no idea. I can't get my head around. What do you achieve by killing children, women, men, 300 of them, and then running away from there? Anyway, that's what they did. Luckily for me, I didn't see any more dead bodies, because we were always flying. We had no time to shut down anyway. So about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I divided my helicopters on 2 groups of 4. And the one set of 4 helicopters, I was going to be in charge, and the other set of 4 helicopters, my flight deputy Jairam was going to be in charge. The idea was we take off from Brahmabaria, go to Raipura, and the first 4 helicopters will turn left and come back to Brahmabaria, and the second lot will land at Raipura and go right and come back. So we could operate 2 helicopters at the same time rather than 1 helicopter. But the other thing good was that we were far away from Bera Bazar, about 25-30 kilometers. So we were out of range. We could see them firing at us, but we were way out of range. They didn't look scary like Sylhet. The other thing the Army learned and our Air Force learned at Sylhet was we shouldn't be close to the garrison. So the rest of the helipads were far away from the enemy. So we never saw any more firing after the Sylhet operation. So we started our operation at 4 o'clock, and I'd briefed my pilots that after land, usually 1 minute on the ground, everybody jumps out and then you get airborne. And the second helicopter is, again, line astern, one behind the other. And if the first helicopter is still on the ground, slow down or land left or right, because it's a big field. No problem. Anybody could land. So when I landed, Group Captain Chandan Singh had gone with me. He wanted to see the helipad. So he spent a little extra time. He had gone out of the helicopter. He was looking at the helipad. And by the time he came back, I was still on the ground. And the second helicopter had approached. And he suddenly saw, oh, he's still on the ground. And without thinking, he overshot. And that is just the time I was just going to get airborne. And I was just going to pull my collector off, get airborne. And intuition told me, wait. And I waited for a minute. Then I saw this helicopter go right on top of me. And if I had taken off, I probably would have hit him. May not have hit him, but I probably would have hit him. And two of us would have been written off. So intuition, again, Bhagwan was watching us. And to be on the, we were safe. So after that, the whole night we were operating. We came back to Agatala every now and then when we needed fuel, pick up fuel and go back again. And then 3 in the morning, one of the helicopters called me, sir, we got no passengers. The second one says, sir, I got no passengers. The third one, the fourth one, 4 helicopters and no passengers. I said, okay, guys, we've been flying whole night. Let's shut down. We'll have a little break. I'll go and find out kya ho raha hai yahan pe. So I went, there was a lieutenant colonel there. I said, sir, what's going on? He says, I want all the 8 helicopters over my unit. I said, sir, 10 minutes mein aa rahe hain wapas. What is the big deal? I can't keep flying empty aircraft just because he want all the 8 helicopters. So he understood after 2-3 minutes of chit chat. Then he started loading up, and then of course the whole night we operated. Till 9th evening we were flying, and we delivered nearly 1,000 soldiers and their equipment and everything at Raipura. Once everybody had arrived at Raipura, General Sagar Singh realized there was no enemy there. So he told them, make headway from Raipura to Narasingdi. So whatever means they could find trucks, they could find buses, they even found railway wagons. They loaded them up, and everybody started moving. All those 1,000 soldiers we had dropped at Raipura started moving toward Narasingdi. So we all came back to Agatala, again standard briefing, hand over the helicopter to the engineers and go to sleep after your food and toilet, which we all were doing. And group captain came and says, hey, I'll come and show you the next helipad. So he picked me up and he came and showed me Narasingdi helipad. And Narasingdi, as you can see, is 40 kilometers from Brahmabaria. And we said we'll start on the 10th of December, we will start at 5:30 in the morning. So that means the night we had to go and park ourselves at Brahmabaria. We took 10 helicopters to Brahmabaria, shut down there, and hall was, I think, 1/3 the size of this hall. 60 of us, pilots, engineers, everybody went to sleep there. There was no food there, there was no toilet there, nothing. Just we went to sleep. And 5:30 on the clock, we all got airborne. You know, the army was already there. We loaded them up and we all got airborne. And we started operating from Brahmabaria to Raipura. And we kept flying till fuel ran out, came to Agatala, picked up fuel. The whole day we kept flying. 10th, 11th, and 12th. 4 days we flew. Yeah, 10th, 11th, 12th. 3 days. And we delivered 1,000 soldiers, we delivered the equipment, we delivered everything at Narasingdi. And we came back to Agatala. Once we had done that, and again everybody was fast asleep, again group captain said, come, I'll show you the next helipad we're going to go. So we went and saw Dadakundi, which is over here, and we're going to go to Badya Bazar, and this is Dhaka. So as you can see, we're getting closer. We started from Raipura, all the people from Raipura came to Narasingdi, and all the people from Narasingdi were made to come to this area. This is the direction they were all following. And then there were army coming from this side. They told us to go to Dadakundi, be there at 7:30 in the morning on the 14th of December. So we got there at 14th of December, 7:30 in the morning, and we were waiting for our army to arrive. They had got bogged down somewhere. And as you can see, we were so close to Dhaka. We had nobody giving us protection. Of course, some army was there, some Indian army was there, but not many people. I had 12 helicopters there, and the locals had brought fruits and vegetables and boiled eggs and whatever to give it to us. And they were all giving it to us, and we were giving them money. And they were surprised looking at us, "Hare, paise bhi de rahe." Pakistanis had never given them any money, you know. And so they were amazed. We were handing over money to them for whatever food they were giving us. And the other thing was, wherever we landed, all our pilots, there was so much arms and ammunition lying around. Pakistanis had left. So we were all picking up souvenirs and putting them in the helicopter. Then I saw some of the pilots had grenades stuck in their belts. And it dawned on me, ek pin nikla aayega to sabko kaada ho jayega. I said, guys, whatever you collect, I have no problem. Please give me the grenades. So I collected all the grenades and give them to the Indian Army. I said, anytime you see a grenade, please hand it over to the Indian Army. I don't want any grenades in our area. But guns and rifles and pistols, whatever you want to pick, you can pick. There was no problem. So we collected a lot of souvenirs, but we never brought them because we had no place to keep them. You know, we brought them to the Agartala airport, probably kept them there, and somebody else probably took it and, took it as a souvenir. We had no time to think about it. But there was plenty there. And I'll just go through little things which I made little notes so that I don't miss anything. As I said, we didn't write anybody's name, who we were carrying. We didn't have facility to weigh anybody. We didn't know what weight we were carrying. We had no ropes, we had no belts, we had no nets. So we were loading up everything and telling the passengers to sit on top of it. And luckily, nobody fell down. Flight engineers were wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Our engineers, they kept every helicopter flying every day for the entire 2 weeks, working in the field. No helicopter was grounded. And our pilots, wow, 24/7 we were working. Not one accident. Absolutely most wonderful. And flight engineers, wow, they were the last person in and the last person out, managing all the passengers, managing all the load. Hats off to them. Absolutely hats off to them. The whole operation was so wonderful. And so after this, they arrived at Dadakundi, the passengers arrived, and 2 days we carried about 1,500 soldiers, and we dropped them at Badya Bazaar. And then we came back to Agartala again, and we heard on the news there's going to be ceasefire. And now remember, all this time, the Indian Army had been briefed, the different corps had been told, we're going to capture half of East Pakistan and put the refugees back. They never imagined that we can capture the whole country. Never imagined. We didn't have the capacity to capture the whole country. So we had been briefed. Everybody had been given certain cities to capture. And Sagar Singh had also been given. And Sagar Singh, of course, disobeyed all the orders. He said that system will not work. Only way to get Bangladesh in our side is get to Dhaka. Dhaka was not being planned by Manekshaw or by Jacob or by Aurora. And everybody had been given different cities. But if you go to a different city and attack them, they were well defended. And you spend time to dislodge them, and you kill some of your own soldiers get killed, and you waste so much ammunition. And of course, more than that is waste time. And Sagar Singh said, if I get to Dhaka before world wakes up to the fact war is on, then we'll win. And that's exactly what he was able to achieve with the helicopters. And he had 80 boats which he had managed to get, and all the local Bengali sailors were helping us. They were employing those boats. So all the big ammunition was going by boats as well. And he told the tanks to swim across the river Meghna. Most of those tanks usually go 2 or 3 kilometers. Here it was 10 to 15 kilometers. And I don't remember the name of the captain, major who was there. He took a helicopter and he had a look at all the little helipads, little islands in the river. So he could hop from one island to the next island to the next island. And they were able to take the entire lot of tanks across the river. And they were able to go towards Dhaka as well. While we were moving our soldiers by helicopters and all, the tanks were going across the Meghna as well. So General Sagar Singh had told General Aurora, I'm going direct. In the beginning, General Aurora was very upset. You're disobeying orders. He says, I'm telling you, the only way we can capture Bangladesh, East Pakistan, is by going to Dhaka. And if I stop on the way and start attacking all the little cities, I'll be wasting time, I'll be wasting ammunition, I'll be wasting soldiers. I just don't want to fight anybody. I just want to go to Dhaka. And that's exactly what he kept doing. And helicopters, wow. And we just took him straight across. So 9 days, from 7th of December to the 15th of December, we delivered nearly 5,000 soldiers. This is the painting which is over there as well. It's done by Captain Dev Gohen. Just gives you an example of Meghna crossing. After the crossing, we had dropped all the soldiers and all the helicopters are landing. Now there was no enemy, so we could operate 4 helicopters at the same time. Sorry, it just shows you some pictures of the operation, and the guns are being carried. All the guns had to be dismantled. We couldn't carry the full gun together. They had to be broken up in 3-4 pieces. And so all the guns are being carried, and you can see the operation going on. 4 helicopters flying together. That is Colonel Bahel on 13th of December firing into Dhaka first, and that gun was brought by the helicopter as well. So he was the first bullets being firing into Dhaka on the 13th of December. These are the load figures you can see. And these are very conservative figures because I had no time to write anybody's name. We had no time to make manifest. We had no time to write anything down. So these are the figures we guessed. And I think the number is much larger than this. And 518 sorties we did, which we had recorded, and 450 hours of flying. And even the staff at Agartala Airport, the refueling staff, the air traffic controllers, they were wonderful. They were working 24/7, just like us. Fuel was available 24/7. Air traffic control was available 24/7. Absolutely wonderful. And these are the tanks I was telling you. Some more photographs of the operation going on, even when the agriculture people are still working, the farmers are still working. And this is the surrender ceremony. Now, on the 15th, we came to know the ceasefire is taking place. So everybody is very happy. Everybody is relaxing in Agartala. And now, Sagat Singh's prophecy had come true. He says, if I get to Dhaka, before people wake up, before UN wakes up, before the Americans wake up, before the Britishers wake up to have a ceasefire. Now, if I had a ceasefire, that means Indian army has to leave. That means Pakistan wins. If Indian army had left East Pakistan, that means Pakistan wins. But that's what Sagat Singh didn't want. He says, if I get to Dhaka first, and then General Jacob, in a little unarmed Alvet helicopter, on 16th morning, arrived I think about 11 o'clock or something, he arrived in Dhaka, and he told General Niazi, either you surrender or you die. Only 2 choices. I says, if you don't surrender, we'll let the Bengalis in and they'll kill all 93,000 of your soldiers. No bother at all, because you've been killing them for the whole year. They were more than happy to come and kill you. And General Niazi realized that. All the time, he kept saying, ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. And Jacob told him, no ceasefire. You surrender or you die. And he had no choice, because our troops were standing outside, and Tangel drop had happened, and our fighters had blown up the governor's house on the 14th of December. Our fighters had played havoc all over East Pakistan. So they were on their knees. They were ready to surrender. And especially if you have soldiers on the ground, they have no choice. You know, Air Force can attack like hell, but unless you have soldiers on the ground, the country cannot be taken over. And our soldiers are outside. So when Jacob told him, he says, okay, I'll give you half an hour, you decide. And he came back after half an hour. He says, okay, we go ahead. He says, under Geneva Convention, we look after you. And we did. 93,000 soldiers we took away to India for 2 years. We did the seva to them. And I was told all the VIPs will go in the Alvet helicopter. So all the VIPs went in the Alvet helicopters. And I had 5 Me-4s in which the reporters are going to go. And I was told only the pilots flying will be going. I said, yes, sir. But I had 25 pilots and engineers who were spare. And I gathered them. I said, listen, 5 each get into the helicopter first before I load up the reporters, which is what I did. So I smuggled 25 of my pilots and engineers to Dhaka, because they didn't want any of my pilots or my engineers to miss once in a lifetime surrender ceremony, just because some extra reporters could have gone. But anyway, we took all the reporters, because we loaded up like hell, right to the brim. They were all standing, no sitting place, no sitting belts. We didn't write anybody's name. But they were all packed, as many as people could get in. They were all packed right to the helicopter. Each helicopter had probably 30 people in my helicopter. And we reached there just before 4 o'clock, and Dhaka was just too gorgeous. Everybody wanted to shake hands. Everyone wanted to give us hugs and all, just like in the Second World War movies, when you see the barricades going into Paris. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And any number of transports were there. They all gave us a lift, took us to the Madan where the signing took place. We saw the signatures. We saw the signing. About midnight, we all came back. And of course, after that, all celebrations were going on. And Our helicopters kept going to Bangladesh for 6 months after that. Till May, we were going into Bangladesh regularly. I was there myself for 6 weeks. And nobody knows about this. General Sagar Singh became de facto governor, military governor of East Pakistan, of Bangladesh. And he, in my view, he invited all the Army, Navy, Air Force, and the police to come under him and told them, listen, go back to work, make sure all law and order is maintained, come to us for help, Army will look after you. And Corps and all the other corps who were in East Pakistan made sure law and order was maintained. And so you never hear of any problems after the independence. And they maintained law and order till the Bangladesh government arrived back from Calcutta, and he handed over the government to them in March time. And also, I had the pleasure of meeting wonderful idols from Bollywood. Sunil Dutt was there, Nargis was there, Vaid was there, Lata Mangeshkar was there. I knew them before. I had met them in Jaisalmer when they were shooting Leshman Chera. So when they saw us, they said, come on the stage. So we all on the stage with them. What a pleasure it was to meeting them all over again. And in Chittagong, Nargis and Vaid were standing to go to the stadium. I said, come, I got a beetle. I'll take you in my little beetle which Army had given me. So I had these wonderful ladies as my passengers. So I took them to the stadium and delivered them. What a pleasure it was to have these two ladies as my passengers. So it was wonderful. The whole experience was the best I had in my life, and thoroughly enjoyed myself. And as I said, our engineers were wonderful, kept every helicopter flying. Our flight engineers, wow, the way they handle the passengers, the way they handle, and our pilots, not a single accident. I keep repeating it. I'm so proud of those youngsters. I'm so proud that none of this happened. And nobody complained about anything. हम नहीं जाएंगे, पेट दर्द हो रहा है, ये हो रहा है, वो हो रहा है. No like this. Everybody was ready to jump and everybody was ready to fly. Thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. And I'll show you this is the kilo flight. You can see the rocket launcher here, and you can see the guns. And same thing was in the otter as well. They were using them for the otter as well. And that's and that's the book we just launched in November, and it's available on Amazon as well. It's a beautifully written book. It describes what we did, what I told you. We also spoke to all the Army units we airlifted. We got stories from them and intermingled with my stories so that we are authenticating each other. What I'm saying, they're saying the same thing. So the book covers the entire 2 weeks of the operation. And it went very well. And the book is available on Amazon. You're more than happy to buy it over there. And we got some painting to give a present as well. Thanks very much. If any questions are there, I'm more than happy to answer.